introducing myself. I'm Tammi. I volunteered on a whim to this committee just to be part of the community, and I think being a massage therapist, being part of the Wellness Challenge kind of fits very well with that, because a part of it is your love yourself, which is the theme of this week. So that's why I'll be talking about self-care, and I actually, with all my clients, I do promote self-care and home care is what I call it. So do some things at home so that you can last a little bit longer in between your massages, so that it's more beneficial for your health as well. So, a little bit more about me. Before I became a massage therapist, I was actually an archaeologist. So this is some of the things that you can see. I'm riding a camel in Egypt there. I was over in Israel for 2 summers working over there, and Israel and Egypt are really close together, so we popped down there for a couple of days as well. The one of me right here, that's a 1 by 1 meter unit, about 1 meter down. So me being only 5 feet tall, I could only reach so far over the edge of the unit to actually get down to the bottom of the unit floor. I'm also a mother of a fabulous 3-year-old or 4-year-old son now. Oh my goodness, he just turned 4. And that's my husband, Derek, as well. We enjoy being outdoors and motorbiking. So that's a little bit about myself. And I'll tell you why I actually switched from archaeology to massage therapy. I've been an archaeologist professionally for about 13 years before I decided to switch careers. And as you can see, it's not really good for your body. There's a lot of positions you have to be in that are very awkward and not ergonomic. You're out in the elements a lot. It's my sunburn on the bottom. I don't know if you can actually see it, but I had like a big sunburn sunglass burn across my face. And that's even SPF 40 all the time. I didn't go without sunscreen. So that's me and my unit partner in a 1 by 1 meter unit trying to excavate bone bed, which you can kind of see in the backgrounds there. We were digging up a Byzantine site there. Sitting on toolboxes, on buckets, just being generally in bad positions overall. It's not very good for your body, and you don't have a lot of time, in all honesty, to take care of yourself, because you have to take advantage of the full day's light when you're excavating. So this is in Israel, those 3. And these 2 are actually in northeastern BC, where I moved for a few years to do some work up there. Israel was a lot more heavy lifting, lots of picks, hammers, wheelbarrows, dumping, things like that. And then in northeastern BC, well, we just had the elements that pretty much took over our lives. I felt quite a lot, actually, because there's so much deadfall and everything around that. It just really made it hard to walk through the bush. It's not like the hiking trails that you would go on out in Banff or Kananaskis or anything like that. It's breaking through willows and everything like that. So a lot of aches and pains at the end of the day. Of that bottom picture there with me in the helmet, that was actually a cut line, but a beaver had dammed it, so we actually couldn't get around. We were stuck. We couldn't, and it was huge. The beaver dam pond was huge. There was no way of getting around it, so we had to actually stop and go around another way. If I could do things differently, I think I might have been able to last a little bit longer in archaeology than I did. But being a consulting archaeologist, we're out there, 7 days a week, 2-3 weeks at a time. Walking through the bush and then shovel testing, so you're constantly putting pressure on one leg if you can't shovel on with 2 legs, because I can't. Left leg, I was like, no, can't do it, it's too awkward. So I'd always use my right leg. Same with getting over deadfall and everything, I'd always lead with my right leg. My last field season, I actually had my hip give out on me. And I ended up with a hip injury for my last field season, and So I'm probably gonna end up with arthritis in my hip later on in life. But the experience itself, I'm not knocking it. It was a great experience being an archaeologist, and maybe one day I'll get back into it when my son's in school. But in that type of capacity, there's no way I could do it ever again. So that made me research other things, and everybody's like, oh, you used to be an archaeologist. That's such a switch to massage therapy. Yeah, it kind of is, but it's been great. I don't regret it at all. It's been a wonderful experience because now I have the opportunity to help people and educate people on self-care and taking care of your body, because you only have one body. You need to take care of it so that you can live the best life you can live for as long as you're alive, I guess. So that's my massage therapy story. So this is my room. I actually massaged out camping one weekend with my sister, and we set it up in my little tent off my trailer. But I have a lot of fun with massage therapy, and I get to know some pretty incredible people as my clients. Some of them, chat with me while they're on the table. Some of them fall asleep. It doesn't matter to me. Whatever you'd like to do for your time, that's totally cool. But being a massage therapist has been a very gratifying career switch. It took me 2 years to become a massage therapist as well, so there was a lot of study and practice as well to get to where I am now, practicing out of my home. So that leads me into self-care. Why is this important? It is so important because your physical, mental, emotional, relational, it affects everything. If you don't take care of yourself, you'll see that you'll find that you'll fall into more negative tendencies. You'll feel sick a lot more. So self-care is really important. And as the bear says, love yourself. Because you only have one body, and it's very important to try and be happy for the majority of your time. And self-care is a step to help you be happy in your everyday life all the time. Well, not all the time. Everybody's going to have bad days, but that's okay. So it's taking your deliberate action to improve your physical and emotional relational well-being in your life. And it encompasses everything. So it means knowing who you are and knowing your limits. So as the cat says, it's a good day to take care of yourself, and so is every other day. We do like I said, all of us have our limits, and sometimes we try and push back past those limits in certain situations. So for example, if you have a deadline at work that you need to, but you've already hit your limit, but you know that deadline is coming up and you still have to stay an extra 2 or 3 hours after work. That's going to happen, and I'm not saying don't do that. And when you hit your limit, sometimes you have to push past it a little bit. But knowing where your limit is, you can kind of moderate that as well, instead of hitting that limit, not knowing you've hit that limit, and then having an emotional breakdown or something like that later on in your life. I'm sure everyone can say that they've been there and they've done that. So it takes a lot to know your limits. And as an archaeologist, I can say I did not know my limits very well when I was an archaeologist, because we had a very high stress job when I was working in consulting, and we had clients that wanted things done because until we got our stuff done, they couldn't do anything. If oil and gas, they couldn't construct their wells or the pipelines. Forestry couldn't go in and take down trees. Housing developments couldn't build the houses and roads, things like that. They couldn't go in there and start doing their job until our job was finished. And we're government regulated, so everything has to go through the government. So you can imagine that it's not a fast process. So we would always push past those limits and just ignore that. And then, at the end of a field shift, you're exhausted, and you only have sometimes 2 days, sometimes a week to get your stuff in order and then go back out in the field again. So if you're doing that for 6 months out of the year, then you're just kind of like, what do I do? And by the end of the field season, you're just burnt out. You don't even want to do anything, and you spend a week sleeping, basically. So you don't want to get to that point. You want to be able to recognize it. If you have to push past it, do that, but then take that break when you need it. So that leads into getting the sleep you need and knowing how to rest. And as my Mr. Starfish says, resting when tired isn't lazy, it's self-care. So the next time you need a nap, you can say, no, it's not lazy. I'm taking care of myself. Because, you know, how many people have felt guilty for taking a nap? Everyone?
Yeah. We should all get that tattoo though.
I know, right? Super cute. I'll tell you about all of these pictures at the end of the presentation too, because I got the majority of them from one spot because it's a super awesome website. But yeah, so if you're tired, take that time to rest. If you need to have that midday nap, have that midday nap. I mean, you don't want to make it a habit because then that can inhibit other things, because then you'll get into that habit of having a nap and then your body will start kind of feeling like it needs that nap every single day, and that's something that you don't necessarily want to get into either. I mean, if you have the time, sure, go for it, but you know, but it's very important to get your appropriate amount of sleep. I know that I've done this many times when we're watching a marathon. We've decided that we want to do like the Lord of the Rings marathon or Game of Thrones marathon now that it's back on, and we stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning watching TV because we're like, we gotta get caught up, or you know, something like that. And then you have to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and you've only had, you know, maybe 4 hours of good sleep, because it takes you time to fall asleep and then time to wake up as well. So then your body's lacking for the entire day, and it's harder to get caught up on sleep than it is to go without sleep. So that's something that you have to do. Like there's times where I could, you know, I go 2-3 days where I'm staying up late, and then it's going to take me a week or longer to get caught up back up on my sleep. It's kind of like jet lag, but self-induced from staying up too late. Self-care also is making sure that you're well fed. Maybe not pizza all the time, but it was cute, so that's why I put it up there. Eating is a good thing, but you want to make sure that you're eating healthy and proportionate meals and things like that. It's okay to eat junk food, but just don't do it all the time. It's you know, better to have your balanced meals. And there's lots of information out there on how to eat properly, when to eat, and whatnot. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail of that, but you know, having your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then having snacks, and then you have resources that say eating 5 small meals a day is better, but it's really dependent on the person as well, on how you eat and what you eat. There's allergies and things like that people can't have, so there's, you know, tweaks to your food intake as well. So just know that if you're going to eat breakfast at 7 and then not eat till 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it's not a good thing. You're starving your body of nutrients basically, and if you're working, that means that you're not going to be able to be more focused on your tasks at hand, or if you're doing a physical activity, that's definitely not going to help you because your body needs that nutrition and things like that. My husband actually is a good example. He told me that he did not eat his lunch till 5 o'clock today. So he ate at 7:30 this morning and then did not eat again till 5 o'clock. And I was just like, no, you can't do that. You have to, you know, eat your, you know, get your nutrition, because it's not beneficial to you, or depending on your job, if you're in customer service, your customers, or if you're writing proposals for something, or you know, things like that. If you don't have that nutrition and you can't focus, then it's not good for anybody that you're serving, yourself included. Which leads to, you need to decompress. Eating is a good way to decompress. Taking that break to have a snack or lunch is a good way to decompress throughout your day, or having a coffee break. Maybe don't take all the time you need, but take enough time that if you're having a stressful day or you need a break from something, just go for that 5-minute walk around your office or around the building, or go grab that snack or coffee or water that you need to help you decompress throughout the day. What I find as a massage therapist is that people working in office jobs, they're sitting way too much in the day. They do not get up. not even to go to the bathroom. I don't know what it is when you're working in an office. It's just like, if I get up to go to the bathroom, then you're gonna lose your train of thought or something like that. But that 5 minutes away from your desk can actually reset you enough to get you back into your task in order to focus a lot better as well. So it's important to get up and move about or do desk stretches or something like that in order to help you reset your body and decompress from your tasks in the day. Our society right now is way too sedentary. There's an article and I couldn't find it, but maybe I'll try and find it and post it in the Facebook group about sitting is the slow killer of the human race, basically, because sitting can cause adverse health effects on a lot of people. Posture-wise, a lot of people won't sit correctly, myself included, if I'm sitting for a long period of time. And then just exercise-wise, we're not getting enough physical activity, so we're seeing things like heart disease and other conditions increasing in our society because we're not being as active as we were when we were a nomadic species. So that's something that I think is important to address as well. So this one, it doesn't apply to everyone, but we've all been in those work situations where it's draining our souls, basically. We come home after work and all we do is lay on the couch and veg out, don't even want to do anything. You don't want to eat, you don't want to go out and see your friends, you don't want to do anything. If you're in that type of a work situation, it might be time to reassess and take some time and see if you need to change or approach your superiors or something like that to make the change. It never hurts to ask. I've been in situations working where I'm like, okay, I'm not doing well in this situation. Can I move to something else? And most of the time they'll, or they maybe not move to something else, but ask for something else, and then bosses and superiors are accommodating in certain situations. Not all, obviously. You can get some of those bosses that are very, very micromanaging and angry and, I don't know, that don't want to help you out or anything like that. So giving some thought to changing difficult work situations is important. And like the little fishy said, it's okay to change jobs. I did it. I went from one extreme to another. So it was scary, but it was awesome. Self-care also means taking the time to get to know yourself better. And I think when we're more focused on everybody else in our lives, I know mothers especially will focus on everybody else in their household and then take less time for themselves. Fathers do it as well. Or if you're in a work situation where you have to work long hours or do a lot of things, you focus on your work and not necessarily on what yourself and your well-being. So you kind of lose yourself. I've heard of lots of people say to me, I've kind of lost myself. I don't really even know who I am anymore. I've been working at this job for so long, or I've been a mother for my entire life, and it's been such a gratifying experience, but now that my kids are out of the house, I have no idea who I am, what my hobbies are, what my likes are, because I've been focusing on my family. And you know, that's great that you focus on your family, but you can also have that balance in your family life too, where you can be like, okay, kids, husband, wife, partner, I'm taking an hour for me tonight. I'm gonna go read my book, or I'm gonna go have a bath, or I'm gonna go do Zumba or yoga or whatever you wanna do. Try something new, or go for supper with your friends that you haven't seen in, ages. It's important that you take time for yourself to get to know yourself better as well. So identifying what you enjoy and what's fun for you, and make it a serious effort to integrate it into your day. Sometimes it's not possible to do it daily. If you're doing a weekly yoga class, well then you just do that weekly. But if you have a hobby, scrapbooking, crocheting, reading, take an hour out of your day every day to do that, because then you'll feel more rejuvenated and that you've taken that time out for yourself. Also, if you've run out of batteries, as Mr. Coffee Cup has said, take that time to rejuvenate yourself. And if that means having a nap or just, stepping away from everything for an hour, then totally do it. Or having a massage for an hour, that's a good way to rejuvenate yourself. Just take some time for you, and that's the important thing. Also, if you're spiritual, and it doesn't necessarily mean religious. If you're religious, that's great. If not, spirituality is anything. Connecting with nature can be spiritual. There's a new thing, maybe it's not a new thing, but it's a new thing to me about walking barefoot on the earth, and it's supposed to rejuvenate you and get that connection to the earth again. That because we live in concrete basically for the majority of our lives. We're walking on sidewalks, pavement, we're driving around in metal and plastic cars, and our houses are not, well, they're made of wood, so that's somewhat natural, but it's not like alive anymore. So connecting yourself to nature, being barefoot in the grass, I do that every year. As soon as the grass is not crunchy and hard anymore and it's starting to grow, I go out into my yard and I just walk barefoot through it because it's one of the best feelings for me. So feeding your spiritual self, however you choose to do that, whether it's connecting with nature, religious, or other. That's one of my favorite ones, is punk rock. Be punk rock. Take care of yourself. So taking the time to love yourself and appreciating that there's only one you and you're the expert on that. Self-care isn't selfish. It's important. It's healthy and it's necessary. So knowing yourself, knowing what you like, and taking the time to do that for yourself is the whole goal of this. So how can you practice your self-care? For me, I can give you some ideas and what I do, and then you can take what you want from it. You may not like them all. You may like them all, but you take what you want from it. Treat yourself. I'm not saying do this all the time because treating yourself costs money a lot of the time, and we all know that we can't do that all the time. But if you want that sweater, treat yourself to it. If you want to go out for supper, treat yourself to it. Going to the spa, getting your nails done, getting your hair done, that's all part of self-care. Whether you think that it is or not, it's a time out of your busy life and schedule that you're taking for yourself. Some people really enjoy getting their hair done, so they'll go monthly, or people that get their nails done with all those fancy designs that you see out there now. Yeah, there you go. My sister is an esthetician, and I used to do my nails a lot too, like when I was an archaeologist, because my nails get really weak and brittle. But now I can't do that as a massage therapist because it's unsanitary if oil and stuff like that gets under a lifted gel nail or acrylic or whatever the popular thing is nowadays. But I used to love doing that. And everybody's like, well, you're wrecking your nails out, like getting them dirty. And I'm like, that's okay, but I still kind of feel pretty as I'm covered in dirt in the field. And I was totally okay with that, and it made my nails that much stronger because I kept ripping them off like halfway down the nail bed because it was just you're using your hands so much that you're destroying your nails. So that's one way of doing it. Be creative. Read a book, listen to music. I've gotten into the practice myself at night to put on some like ambient music. It's not like that drone of like white noise or whatnot, but it's a nice thing that you can just focus on and relax and close your mind so that you're not thinking yourself awake. I used to do that all the time, where I would just start, as soon as I lay down in bed, I would start going through my day and, okay, what do I need to do tomorrow? What did I forget? And then trying to make a mental list, and then when you wake up the next morning, you forget it all anyway. And so I was just like, no, this is not productive. I'm not getting good rest. I am waking up tired, all this kind of stuff. So I've just put on some ambient music. Sometimes I let it run all night. Sometimes I set a timer and it's only on for an hour or whatever, but it's something that you can do to help your mind shut off at night. Also, reading a book before bed will help you kind of turn off your busyness of your mind, because then you're focusing on the book depending on the book, if it's one that's like super interesting and you can't put it down, then you might be like, no, I can't go to bed, and I want to read one more chapter. Oh, one more chapter. Oh, one more chapter. So reading the book sometimes can be bad, but I've done that many times too, where I've stayed up way too late to be reading a book and then not go to bed on time. And being creative, and that can be anything. Like I said, scrapbooking, crocheting, knitting, painting, if that's something that you like to do, writing, keeping a journal, things like that, or let your creative juices flow, basically. This one's a really, really important. Hydrate. Water is the best thing that you can drink. I know we all have our coffee or tea or other things that we have during the day, but it's really, really important to have that water. I'm also a massage therapy instructor, and right now I'm teaching anatomy and physiology, and we are made up of water. That's like the biggest makeup of our body is water. If we lose that hydration, we deprive our cellular level basically of the nutrition and the water that is needed. Your blood and your plasma is made up of 90% water, so you really need to keep yourself hydrated in order to keep your body functioning in a proper way. On this one, what does it say? I can't really read it, it's kind of small, hey? I was hoping it would show up better. It's good for, well, you can tell when you're thirsty. If you're already gonna chug that bottle of water, you've gone past thirst, and you should have been drinking a little bit earlier. It helps your skin tone, keeps your skin looking hydrated and fresh. It's good for your kidneys, as we all know. Kidneys flush out our body. Physically, water is probably the best thing that we could drink when we're doing physical activities. Gatorade, Powerade, and all those kind of stuff, they're really high in sugar, so that kind of takes away some of the hydration that you have. So it's I'm not saying that you don't drink them. They're great to keep you hydrated if that's what you have, but water is the best thing that you can do for keeping hydrated. Mentally, it can help clear your mental fog as well. If you're thirsty and you drink a bottle of water, I don't know how many times I felt so more refreshed after drinking a glass of water, and I'm like, oh, I should have had that an hour ago. But yeah, so, and it actually helps with weight loss. The more water you drink, the less water retention you have. Kind of a crazy concept, but when we start retaining that water weight is what they call it. If you drink more water, you can flush all of that out as well. Unplug. Go outside. Or whatever you choose to do. Unplugging is a very important thing. I've found myself on many occasions staring at my phone right before bed, and I've been trying really, really hard to make sure that my phone is not beside my bed when I go to bed. So it's that there are, if you Google it, there's papers out there that light from your phone, if you're looking at it in the dark right before you go to bed, it will take you longer to get to sleep after you do that. So if you want to look at your phone, great. Look at your phone if that's the only time you have to, check your emails or get caught up on things, read the news, whatnot. Do it before you get ready for bed, and then go through your bed routine, and then go to bed. And then that'll reset your brain and things like that in order to shut it down. I'm a big fan of going outside. That was the majority of my life up until a few years ago, was to go outside. So we can't. We motorbike. We used to dirt bike. I used to race as well, dirt bikes. Some outdoor races. Tried indoor racing once, and I fell and broke my wrist, so I never did them again because they're smaller tracks. But yeah, just do something that is out of your norm, and you'll feel better for it 9 times out of 10. Except for if you go on that crazy hike that everybody's like, oh, you should really do it, and then you do it and you're like, why did I do that? That was insane. But you have a good story to tell afterwards anyway. Meditating and yoga. I'm a big fan of meditating and yoga. I do not know how to meditate on my own, so I do guided meditations, and there's tons out on YouTube or websites and things like that you can download the media file and then play it on your phone, and you can meditate. with that. I always do my phone face down so that I don't get any of that light as well when I'm doing that, just so that you don't have that distraction. Yoga, again, there's lots of YouTube websites, or go to a class. But I know sometimes it's hard to get to that class because you have your schedules and things like that. There is a good website that I found called doyogawithme.com, and it's a gentleman out in Vancouver, I believe, or Vancouver, Victoria, somewhere in BC, and he has probably about 7 or 8 yoga instructors, and they all put classes online, and it's all free. I mean, there's obviously a donation page if you choose to do that, but it's mainly free. And I've found a lot of the guided meditations and yoga classes, especially for beginners, because man, I did not know how to do yoga when I first started. It was really good. Good to get it in those beginner classes as well. This is a big one too, exercise. It doesn't have to be extensive. They say walking is the best thing you can do for your body. So go for a walk. 15 minutes is pretty much all you need. If you can do it longer, great. Then you don't need to cross train or do all those extensive things unless you want to, which is not for me. But I know there's people that love like the CrossFit or things like that, or go to like an exercise class, Zumba, Pound. What are some other popular ones that are out there? Spin, yeah, there you go. So,
Bar is another one.
Bar,
yeah,
that's big
bar.
now, too.
I've actually wanted to try a bar class, and I
That's
haven't been
awesome.
able to make it yet. So maybe that's one of my drop-ins. I'll go to In Spirit and do bar there. I heard Amanda.
Yeah, it's
and
Amanda.
There's another one that does bar there.
Sarah.
Sarah, yeah. So one of these days, hopefully sooner rather than later, I'm gonna make it there for bar. The big thing about exercise is stretching. It gets neglected a lot of the time, but stretching is actually sometimes a workout in itself. You can get a lot of your stretching from yoga, so if you're going to do a yoga class, you're kind of getting that built in throughout the entire class. But if you're doing spin, bar, Zumba, Pound, all that kind of stuff is super, super, super important to stretch. Stretching keeps your range of motion. If you lose that range of motion, exercise becomes more difficult, moving becomes more difficult. I bet you we've all had those days when we've got up out of bed, there's that day where you just don't even want to, like you can't even move and you're just like, oh, It's important to stretch, and I try and do it daily in the mornings. I know people prefer in the evenings before they go to bed, and that's fine too, but I like to do it. It's like my wake-up call in the morning is I'll do a 15-minute stretch routine. And I've actually just been following a gentleman off of YouTube, drawing a blank on what it is, but he has like this 15-minute beginner flexibility routine, and it's amazing. I was like, well, I thought I was pretty flexible, and I got told by, I took a course in myofascial cupping as well, and my skin was very pliable, let's say, and he's like, you're like Gumby. So I thought maybe I thought I was flexible, and then I started doing this 15-minute beginner flexibility routine, and I was like, whoa, totally not flexible. But the more you do it, the more range you're gonna get, right? So even just pushing yourself, you hit that barrier of your stretch, just push a little bit further, not too much, because then you risk tearing or injuring yourself. Just push a little bit further and just keep doing that every day, and then a month down the road you'll be like, wow, I can actually almost do the splits now. Not me. Maybe you guys, if you do continue with stretching every day. But I mean that's physical activity too, so it will get your blood flowing at a faster rate. It'll wake you up. It'll give you all of the benefits that exercise will give you as well. So I cannot stress stretching enough. Because I see that all too often in my profession where people don't stretch, and then that leads to the majority of their imbalances in their body and their tissue. I can't say about their body because I can only deal with their tissue. Laughing, it burns calories. It's good for your heart, your brain. It's just good for everything. So if you can laugh at yourself, laugh at jokes, just laugh in general. Even just smiling, sometimes if you smile, it'll bring a memory back into your mind, and you'll kind of give yourself a chuckle. And that is good. That is super, super good for your body. So on here it says, reduces anxiety, depression, loneliness, stress, and tension. That's just all from laughing. This one is at healinglaughter.org. It's a place in Atlanta, I believe, that I got this information from, so it's kind of neat. It also, so how it reduces stress, it just decreases cortisol serum, thus providing an antidote for the harmful effects of stress. Aids in reducing symptoms of neuralgia and rheumatism. So neuralgia is to do with your nerves, rheumatism, and we've all heard of rheumatoid arthritis. Increases production of endorphins, which we all know is your happiness hormone. Improves ventilation, thus helping reduce chronic respiratory conditions. Increases antibodies in saliva to combat the upper respiratory infections. Promotes cardiovascular health, reduces blood pressure and heart rate. Secretes an enzyme that protects the stomach from forming ulcers. So if you all know that you're really, really stressed out, you can develop an ulcer. And your stomach lining basically is eaten away by your stomach juices. It's not very pleasant. Conditions the abdominal muscles. So how many people out here would say, oh, I really need to work on my abs? You're gonna get that core strength up. Yeah, it helps out with that. Changes perspective, improves mental functioning, improves self-esteem, provides a sense of empowerment and control, restores hope and energy. Exercising relaxes muscles throughout the body, helps move nutrients and oxygen to body tissues, liberates interleukin-2 and other immune boosters. So that's just all from laughing. So I recommend we all laugh on a daily basis if you can. So be kind, not only to yourself, but others. How many times have you heard of that pay it forward? And you're like, man, that's awesome. Have you done it? Do it next time you're in the drive-thru Tim Hortons. That's where it happens most often. That's where I hear of it most often. But oh, somebody paid for my coffee already, or volunteer somewhere that you don't normally volunteer, and just help out. You'll not only have that benefit of doing something for others, you're going to be helping out others as well. That feeling of helping others is a good endorphin booster as well, and then you get the satisfaction of helping others as well. So that's the whole purpose of being kind.
There's an amazing show on Netflix right now called The Kindness Diaries.
I've seen that one. I haven't watched it. I've seen it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Kindness Diaries.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really good.
Hobbies. These are my hobbies. I crochet. That's why I brought it up. And most of the time I crochet to make for other people. I don't do a lot of commissions, I guess is what they call them, because it's really expensive if I was to do commission. But I do it for fun, and I made this for a friend's baby. Super cute. And then this one, I actually crocheted my son's and I's costumes that we went to Comic-Con, the Foothills Comic-Con. That was just in October. I crocheted his Thor costume, and then I was Supergirl. You can't really see me, but yeah, there was a Supergirl crest back there. And I just had so much fun doing it that it didn't even seem like work or anything like that. Because some of those parents out there, they're like, oh, I gotta make a costume for my kid, and they don't want to. I'm like, can I just go buy it? And I'm just like, oh yeah, I'll make it for us. It's like I spent a week making his costume. Actually 2 weeks for his costume. My costume was way easier because it was like solid blocks, whereas his had a little more detail. Biking. This is my old bike. I no longer have, but I got a new bike now, so it's all good. And then it's my husband, and we were just out camping, so we put on my son's helmet. We just tootled him around slowly around the campsite, and he just loves it. And now he has this little electric bike, those Strider bikes where there's no pedals. Well, there's this new. My husband works in the motorcycle industry, so he they got them in the shop. And it's called a Stasic, and it's an electric bike, but it's a strider bike, so that if the batteries die, they can still, paddle along with their feet. But he just gets in there with his like throttle on, and it's like, I'm going really fast, mommy. So he's already into the biking scene with us, which is pretty awesome. And just recently, I've done a couple paint nights, and I've found that I really, really enjoy getting out there. And I'm, a lot of them are guided, so I mean they may look better than what I'm actually able to do, because that was kind of almost traced, the bison skull there. And then the bottom one there was totally guided, so I could draw mountains. I basically drew them like I did in elementary school, just like little triangle peaks. But I found that I really, really enjoyed that. So whenever I hear of a paint night that I can actually make it to, I try and consciously make an effort to go to it, because I really, really enjoy it. And then it's a night out. I had a beer, painted a bison skull, went home with this, and now it's on my wall. My son actually stole it for a little bit and put it in his room, but then he actually made one at daycare, and so he has now that proudly displayed on his wall. He's like, "Here, mommy, I don't need yours anymore." So yeah, so that's some of the things that I do in order to get my self-care. And then I try and do things whenever I can. I try and go to a Zumba class or yoga class or things like that. Go out for a walk or a bike ride with my family. I don't have a dog, so I can't walk a dog, but that's a good way to get your self-care and your exercise in as well. But yeah, like there's nothing better than being out somewhere like that, stopping and being like, oh my goodness, what a country we live in, hey? And that's just actually west of Sundre, that bottom picture. So it's not too far from here. The other one's in Kookanusa, so it's in BC. But I don't know, just having those views is pretty amazing. Just to even wake up to that in the morning. So those pictures are from positivedoodles.tumblr.com. She has so many up there. So many. I was having a hard time picking the pictures to put into the presentation, because there's so many, and some of them are funny, some of them have a little, some profanity in them, but it's all in good fun. This one is here, 19 simple things you can do to practice self-care. That's where I pulled a lot of the stuff out of. And then the Atlanta laughter is the best medicine. And then the psychology today also as well is where I pulled some of the information out of. So if you care to have those, I can post them in the group as well. And you can read them in greater detail than what I presented today. So that's it for my self-care topic. If you have any comments, questions, or anything like that, you can spit them out now, I guess.
Well, there's so many things in High River to do. For girls' night out, guys' night out, date night out, family night out. There's Bottled Up has lots of things. The brewery has lots of trivia nights, challenges.
I really want to get to the brewery.
That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There'd be tons of laughter in that, so
Yeah.
that alone would give you lots to do. There's lots of, Lutz does a lot of the
Oh yeah.
Make it night.
Pinterest nights.
Pinterest nights.
Yeah. And there's lots of paint nights. The library alone has tons of programs here.
That mountain painting that I did was here,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was a free paint night.
It's awesome. They have a murder
Yeah.
mystery. They had a learn to waltz
Yeah.
night. There's even armchair traveler. So they have people come in and talk about their travels. And
I want to do
so
one of those
You
talks.
should
meetings.
follow them
Yeah.
on Facebook. The library has
you
so
should,
many
yeah,
so many
absolutely.
things.
The
There's like a
library.
cookbook group, a cooking group that gets together.
Yeah, there's a cook night.
They're,
went to the
they'll
Knitwits
work on
one
your
day.
electronics. Somebody,
Knitting
digital
teenagers can help you work on your
Yeah.
electronics.
So there's so many
Sweet.
things that you can do
Yeah.
in High River alone.
Well, and now that yay for the pool, it's back open. You can do that kind of stuff. With
Free
your,
swim on Friday.
Yeah,
It's
so
a
with
big
your
Easter day.
take your kids if you have younger kids. Do a family day. You're also getting a little bit of exercise, because what we don't realize about water is we burn way more calories and things like that in water than we do any other type, because there's that water resistance, and you don't feel like you're doing it is the thing. So it's a lot more fun than sometimes going to the gym and just running on a treadmill, you know what I mean? Although there are people out there that really love running, so that would probably be better for them anyway. But yeah, so Knee Deep is the new pub in town. Super awesome specials pretty much every night, so that's a great date night. Things like that too, and they have their live music a lot there too. And Carlson's has a lot of live music, so that's
Mr. Mike has open night,
Yeah.
open
Oh,
mic
yes.
night,
So
as well.
many.
Knee Deep has open mic night.
yeah.
It's a free comedy night at Spitzy Post on May 3rd.
There you go.
Those are super
Laughter,
fun.
laughter.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're really fun.
And another thing, as would fall in the kindness category, is May 4th is the High River Green Sweep Cleanup,
Oh, yeah.
the town. So whether you do it as yourself or as a family, it's a great way to pay it forward for our community.
Mhm.
So,
Or even if you're, it doesn't have to necessarily be for the day. I've gone out on the happy trails, walking and biking and stuff like that, and if I see garbage that's on the ground, I always pick it up and throw it away. And I know there are people that just keep on going by, whether or not they've seen it or they have, but you know, that's something that you can feel good about yourself and pay it forward to keeping our green spaces clean for everybody to use as well. So, George Lane, I love George Lane as well. We take our little mini barbecue out there in the summertime. We just go sit in the park and let my son play on the playground, and we just cook our hot dogs or whatever we're cooking at that for the night and enjoy the park. And there's so many people use that park, and it's just great because then you just see you listen to everybody having a great time, and it just makes you feel so much better as well because everybody around you is feeling positive and happy. So it's great. I'm super happy that it's getting nice out there so that we can actually start enjoying some of the beautiful species we have in High River as well. So
there's also, if you are on the High River Connected page, Jody posts every Thursday what is going on in the town on the weekend and stuff. So there's lots of good information there.
Yeah, I found out a lot of events going on from that little video blurb that she does every week. So it's pretty awesome. I was like, what? High River's doing that? That's awesome. Could try and go to that, you know? So
Absolutely. And if you listen to the radio station as well.
yeah.
Sun Country, they have lots of interviews with different programs, the food rescue. Jody was on this morning, so all kinds of information on the morning shows. So. Yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for coming out. It was a pleasure. I haven't done a presentation like this in a long time. It was really nice. It's different than teaching, obviously. This is actually something that's a little bit more fun than teaching. But yeah, so it's been pretty awesome to be able to come out and talk with you guys.
Thank you.